Okay, hello, friends and people and humans and creatures. I'm going to back up a little bit. I'm going to offer a meditation, maybe some movement. Well, I'm going to do micro movement in this, but with a few extra things involved. So let's just take a couple of deep breaths and come into a landing. You can do this laying down, you can do it seated, any way that feels comfortable for you. So just coming into the breath. Using the breath as a connection to the element of air, right? So as we inhale, there's a sense of lightness. And as we exhale and we expel the air, we get a little more grounded. So that each inhalation is giving us a little bit more spaciousness and a little lift. And each exhalation is letting us drop down into the ground more. So there's a natural sense of growing and shrinking with the breath. Or inspiration, inspiring, and then exhalation coming down for a landing, coming into the ground, grounding our energy. And there's no need to change the way you're breathing right now. Just notice the breathing, just feeling into the breath. Giving your awareness the chance to land in the present moment, in what's happening in your body right now. And we're going to add a little bit of hands-on in this meditation. So if it feels good, you can do it. If your arms get tired or if you don't feel like it, you can also not do it. But we'll just start with gently rubbing our hands together. So just getting a little bit of energy in between our hands. As you're rubbing your hands together, feel into the temperature of your hands. Feel into the humidity of your hands. Like it's very hot and humid here, and my hands are a little bit sweaty, so they're stickier than normal. Just feeling into the skin, what it feels like in your skin. And then we're going to take our hands and just cup over our eyes. Closing your eyes and letting yourself come just deeper into your body without the vision, without the visual. And as we're in this position with our hands over our eyes, or even without your hands over your eyes, with just having your eyes closed, tuning into the sense of volume of your eyeball. If it feels interesting, you can let your eyes kind of wander even as they're closed, maybe a little side or up down movement. Letting your awareness even move forward and backward in your eyeball so that you're coming to the very edge, the front space of the eyeball, and then the voluminous back space of the eyeball, which is more inside your head. And with our hands on our eyes, just inviting our eyes to soften, inviting our nerves that are connecting, they're crossing behind our eyes, connecting in towards the optic nerve. And we're just allowing that to be a little more spacious. If it feels good to release your hands down, you can release your hands down. Maybe keeping your eyes closed, but just noticing the sense of light or the sense of color that your eyes are seeing even as they're closed. Breathing into the internal spaciousness in your body. If there's any micro movement that's bubbling up, feel free to allow it. We're not trying to lock down the body. So we're softening, allowing. If we're grasping onto any ideas or any thoughts, just let them pass by like clouds. If it feels good to open your eyes, again, you can open your eyes. We're going to take our awareness into our jaw, and maybe hands on feels good. Can be very soft and gentle, just gently touching the front of your jaw. I've got my hands so that they're slightly in front and just under my jaw. And just feeling in, like almost cradling your jaw with your hands. And if it feels good to add just a little teeny bit of side micro movement, go for it. You can imagine that your head is almost like a ball on top of a fountain just floating up there. Jaw, teeth, tongue, throat, very relaxed, very soft and easy. As I relax my tongue, I can come into this kind of droopy voice where everything's so relaxed and it's like everything is just melting down. So, kind of tuning to the water element in your body, letting the water settle down. Also, like when I start to talk like that, I become aware of my saliva, the saliva salivating in my mouth. Also, they're very close. Some of those glands are really close to where my fingers are. And I'm going to also play with sort of opening and closing my mouth. Could be small, could be big. Maybe yawning feels good. But feeling my whole cranium on top of my spine with this freedom in my jaw, relaxed tongue and neck, relaxed eyes. But you can kind of let your tongue like get really soft and heavy. The tongue is really relaxed. But it could also have some micro movement. It could be like a sea creature in your mouth, or like you're sucking on a hard candy, letting your tongue have some volume, like you let your eyes have volume, allowing the tongue to have volume, allowing the teeth and the jaw and the bones of your cranium to have some spaciousness. So we're really bringing the head online in our awareness. Then I'm going to let my hands come down to the top of my sternum, to my K27 point, which is right in here, this little indentation. I'm just going to cross my hands and hold on right there. If that feels uncomfortable, feel free to not do that. I'm going to let my head drop a little bit and just feel into myself. So from my throat down through my sternum and my chest. Maybe being aware of the back body as well, but feeling into the sensations in my body. Feeling the little tiny movements of my breath, or maybe they're big movements. And inviting a sense of free flow into my body. So I'm not locking anything down, I'm not forcing anything. I'm simply noticing and allowing. If I feel like I'm gripping onto something, I just soften and release the grip. And I can use this side movement if that feels good. Or I can move my tongue or my jaw. So anything, everything is allowed. If some other part of your body wants to move, you are allowed to do it. Bringing yourselves into sensation and awareness. As my head drops a little forward, I can release the back of my shoulders more. And I'm starting to let my whole head-tail relationship have some freedom. Just micro movement. It's almost like I'm diving into my body. And as my awareness goes in, it just kind of starts to drop deeper and deeper. So that's the invitation, to let your awareness come in, sinking into sensation at deeper and deeper levels. And as the awareness drops into each place, it's like there's the possibility for more spaciousness. So I'm going to let my hands go down. I'm going to take one hand on my belly and one hand on my lower back. And let my awareness drop deeper down into my pelvis, into my sit bones, maybe into my feet. Feeling into the rise and fall of my breath, even as it moves my organs down. I'm feeling the aliveness of my whole nervous system in my body. So feeling whatever tone or vibration your body has. And there's no need to fix it, change it, just notice it. And coming into the sort of pelvic basin, this ground of being in our pelvis, maybe noticing into our sit bones or our tailbone, or even the fluidity of our guts. Just noticing what is interesting for you with your hands on your belly and your sacrum or your tailbone. And giving yourself permission and spaciousness, giving yourself acceptance to explore any kind of movement or sensation that's coming up, just allowing it to be there, noticing. Deeply, deeply accepting the as is. Oh, this is what's happening. Okay. Can I keep my attention and my awareness in here? Can I stay present with myself? Which doesn't mean I have to erase everything else that's happening. Everything is happening. In my space, I can hear birds. I can feel the gentle breeze and the heat. So giving yourself a chance, if it feels good, to let go of anything you're holding on to, and just inviting any kind of free flow movement to move through your body. You could think of gently, softly pouring yourself around. And if you feel like you come across resistance or you encounter resistance, imagine that you can just flow around it. Or you could even push into it, right? Sometimes if we push into our own resistance, we just get a nice push back. So we can find the push-pull of resistance. Inviting your nervous system to really allow itself to be nourished through any kind of movement, any kind of gentle flow that's happening in your body. Could be the rise and fall of your breath. Could be just noticing yourself connected to the ground of the planet, the ground of the earth. We belong. Gravity says so. Gravity is keeping us connected. So for me, in these explorations, in these meditations, like just following little flows of movement allows me to stay very present with myself. Which isn't to say that there aren't sometimes other thoughts occurring. Thoughts can come and go. That's okay. But what I keep tuning into is this little movement and adjustment, these little flows, interior flows that are happening. Yeah, sort of giving our bodies a chance to unwind and process, tuning into that more parasympathetic state of rest and digest, soothe and settle. If you feel like you get too deep and it gets dark or scary, feel free to come back to the surface and just check out the space around you. So, the big revelation that I had in this past week, and it's, I don't know, I guess we have these revelations and then we have some very similar revelation in another time. But it was whether I'm going inner or whether I'm going outer, it's still my awareness. So, just being aware of what your awareness is doing. Is it going this way? Is it going that way? It's still awareness. Letting yourself rest in your awareness where there's no forcing it, just presence with it. Your awareness is always there. So, one thing for me while I'm in these explorations is to notice patterns. And if I see a pattern coming up, then I try to let that go and go somewhere different so that I'm not just repeating patterns. Although sometimes it might feel good. So, if you're into it, go for it. And in many ways, like being in these states, it's like we're building a relationship with these states, like we're going into this place. And the more we build the relationship, the more we have access to being there all the time. Like we could go to the grocery store and be like in the, line and suddenly be like, okay, I just want to go into sensation in my body just for a second. I need to touch back in. So we're building that muscle of feeling what that is, or building that relationship, or creating the space for that to happen, to play out, right? We could go and meditate in a cave and we could have some really deep connections with ourselves or with God or whatever. But then if we're not in the cave, we might not have access to that anymore. So we're trying to find a way to come into these sort of parasympathetic processing states, or these more nourishing, less uh, stressful, less clenchy states where we're letting go of things in just our day to day life. So coming into that freedom, going, oh, I'm holding on to something here. Maybe I can let it go. Maybe I can take my attention here into myself, or feeling, or really feeling, what does that thing feel like? Allowing the feeling of whatever it is to fully express within our body so that we aren't pushing it away. Because if we're trying to push away those things, sometimes they're just getting deeper inside. So giving ourselves the spaciousness to be with ourselves in whatever our body is going through, so that we become curious about the experience of being in the experience, as opposed to threatened or reactive with our experience. Just curious. What's going on here? What does this feel like? Can I go deeper? Is there something I can let go of? I'm going to bring that into a close. You are welcome to continue to carry on or not, really as suits you. And if you are in TV land, please like and subscribe. We give you some not subliminal persuasion advertising